Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's me to go first. I have the blank. I have only one vowel. I'm looking for a bingo, and I'm considering the blank as a vowel. Can't see anything with an A, or an E, or an I, or an O, or a U, or a Y. So, I think fug leaves the best leave. I certainly want to play off the F, the U and the G, and I don't think I can play off any more tiles. There should be something here. Dear Dems is good with an E. That plays in column 10, making fugs. Dear Dams is good. Anagram of Madrid's. Madrid's is not good. Again, in some ways it's helpful having only one vowel because I really need to pretty much only consider the blank as a vowel. So there are bingos with a blank as an A and an E. Can't see anything with an I or an O. And Dear Dums is good, I believe. So Dear Dams, Dems, and Dums. And that's good because I can play a double across here. The only trouble with so many very similar words is in case I have misremembered one, but I do know that Madrid has an anagram, and I can't think of any other candidate words other than this one. And that's 97 points, which is a lot. I pick up a very poor rack leave. It's going to be difficult to resolve this in one go, but I do have the J, so I'm going to consider what scoring opportunities are available. Well, there are very few opportunities on this board. OD takes an E after it, so I could play Y, W-Y-E. 22 points, keeping J, U, U, E. I don't think that's particularly good or worthwhile. J, E, U is good. I could play that at J9. Well, let's have a look at this. This is more promising. Resolves all the duplicates. Scores 28 points. Rack leave of E, U, W, Y. It's not great, but if I change my tiles I'll get 0 points. So, J is better than changing. Is there anything better than J? Not that I can see. And although I don't have a bingo here, it's a balanced rack. I have scoring tiles. I do have the W and the U. It's going to be very difficult to play off both of those. So I'm looking to play off probably the W. W goes underneath JA to make jaw. But I can't see a way of playing across to the double word square. Now Nod takes an E after it. Can't use that to great effect. I've got the U to go after the Q. can't see a way of playing a 5-letter word or greater, but it means that the U isn't such a terrible letter to retain. Fug takes a U after it as well as an S. Can't use that to good effect. I could play Y across here. That's 22 points. If I play way, I get 2 fewer points. I'm opening up column 15, but I've got the S to take advantage of column 15, and I'm also improving my rack leave by having only 2 vowels with 1 consonant. And also, maybe column 15 and row H will distract my opponent away from the Q, and keeping EUS has a very good chance that I will have a play through the Q. That's not great. I do have quaeri at I3 down, leaving OS. Through an R I would have re-arouse. Just wondering if there's anything better than quaeri. I'm not going to pluralise way because I don't have any scoring tiles on my rack. So the most I could score would be by playing arouse. 32 points. It's not great. Let's see what quaeri scores. Quaeri is 30 points, and I'm retaining the S, so this is better than playing arouse. Before I do that, I must just challenge off Woosie. Great. That would have really have spoiled my game if I'd left that on the board. Right, quaeri, 30 points. I know my opponent has got GOER. No high scoring tiles there. Now, I do not have a bingo, but I have the X, and I should be able to score well and leave. Well, that's not good either. I hope my opponent doesn't become discouraged and leave. Let's try Pox here, 45 points. Nasians, I have Nasians, does that play? I'm wondering about quaeries. I should know that. I think it takes an S. If it does, I've got Nasians at 01, and I also have Nasians in column 10. And the fact that I've got it in 2 places makes me more inclined to try the 01 position. Because if it does come off, there's a decent chance that I can play it next go. However, if it does come off, an opponent ought to identify if there's simply one other place it can go and block it. But I feel that quaeries is good. I should certainly know it. Well, let's find out. Yep, no phonies there. I don't think Nations has got any anagrams. £90 points. I do not have a good rack. Again, only 1 vowel. Great, it stays on and I get a 5-point penalty. But the A's a good vowel to have with these consonants. I ought to be able to play off 3 of them with wang or gnaw, twang even. Now my opponent has opened up, oh well, gosh, he's not having a good game. KE isn't good. So, where can I play these moves? Emo only takes an S, that doesn't help. Oi takes an N, a T, a G, and a B in front. So I could play WAB. But it would be nice to play off an extra consonant. Can I play through the E of Quaeries? Well, I don't think I can. Jag takes an A at the end, but Emo only takes the S, so I'd have to have a word ending in A. That's not going to happen with only one vowel. Okay, so I'm thinking about playing WAB. C's not a bad tile to keep. G and N have some synergy because of the ing ending, although there's not really places on this board for that apart from row N. 23 points is okay. Although WAB takes an S in front, FUG takes an S after it, so I'm not really opening up a new bingo lane with that hook. Although I am opening up row F. I have 7 consonants. I can play creme at L1. That stays available. Well, I'm certainly going to have to play through a vowel. I think this is the only one available. I'm wondering about adding an S to this. How much would that score? 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 more points. I think I'll keep it. One vowel again, but I have a considerable lead in this game. Jag takes a G after it as well as an A. So I could play lang or dang, probably even better, at M6. Helps to close the board up. Because I'm so far ahead, I don't need to close the board up. I probably ought to try and extend my lead further. But if there isn't an obvious way of opening the board up and scoring well, then certainly a play of dang looks fine. 27 points, that's a good score. Great, stays available. Nothing provided by my opponents. LST is not a bad leave. The fugs, plural, remains available. Gosh, one vowel again. But looking at my opponent's plays, he doesn't seem to be plagued by vowels. Maybe they will hit my rack in the end game. So I have a duplicate L and duplicate T. It would be helpful to play a move like tell in terms of sorting the rack out. I've only got 1 point tiles. I'm unlikely to score well. I note that Crow takes an S in front. O'Lear, my opponent plays off 3 vowels, so maybe he is starting to have vowel preponderant racks. But what am I going to do with my rack? I do have bingo-y tiled, I just have a bad vowel consonant balance. So I'd like to sort this out in one go. It's going to be tricky. I could play trot at f10. Only 12 points, and it is scuppering some bingo lanes, and it's leaving the duplicate L. Can I do better than that? Well, briefly looking around, I don't think I can. And cell isn't terrible. There is one L unseen, so this rack could deteriorate if I pick that. Which I do. Ah, annoying, because the rest of the rack is pretty good. I don't have a 7 or 8 letter bingo. The T of trot, the first one, takes an S in front, so that's another bingo lane. I do have an S, and in fact I have the final S, and there is one blank unseen. I really need to play off these L's, but it's going to be difficult to do that. Difficult to do it at all, and difficult to do it without playing off some of my really good bingo-y tiles. So, how to proceed? 19 tiles left. I've got 9 minutes on the clock. LALL is good, but I can see nowhere where that plays. Well, this is a really tight board. I have a huge lead, so it's not disastrous. Now, maybe I should change. Changing might not be a bad idea, because then I can retain all of the good bingo-y tiles. Yeah. Because there is a bingo lane, or 2 bingo lanes for words ending in S. So if I just throw back 2 of the L's, then I won't be drawing any of them. AELST is pretty good. Great. Elenets, I've got that in column 2 and in row E. And leanest is an anagram of that. Leanest Elenets. I think that's it. Now, does my opponent's play open anything up for me? No, it doesn't, but I note that I can play leanest and scrow in row C, and that's going to score more. Probably not a great deal between this and column 2. This is a nice time to play a bingo with a blank unseen and only 16 tiles in the bag. I don't draw the blank. I have a fairly balanced rack. Great, another 5 points. I had a moment's doubt over scrow, but you can't give in to these doubts, because small doubts are always creeping into your mind. Right. Now that's one reason why the column 2 bingo was probably close to the row C one. I was opening up this opportunity. My opponent scored 33 points. There are 6 tiles in the bag. Pretty bingo-y tiles. I have the V and a duplicate I. So, what to do? Very few scoring opportunities on the board. Gosh, the whole of the bottom right of the board is unavailable. Scro takes an E in front. I don't have an E. I think I'm looking at column 2. I could play Varley at E2 down, but it's for a tiny amount of points. 11 points. What else is available? It would be nice to play in column 4 onto the eye of Chin. Lithia. I think Lithia is good. Oh, that doesn't play. It ends in an A, not an I. Well, Varley has value. It takes out a bingo lane. It doesn't open up the triple word score at A1 because V doesn't take a letter in front of it, and the rack leave is fine. I draw the Z, which is good. I do not draw the blank. My opponent has a bingo lane through the N of Nief, and he could also play a bingo in row N, beginning with an S and pluralizing Jag. He's done neither. He's emptied the bag, and he has a pretty good rack. He can play Slatia at N9 across, and he's got N trails in row A, so I can't stop him bingoing. So I need to assume he's going to bingo and score as much as possible. I don't have anything which goes after that. I can't block the Slatia Jags bingo. This is quite tricky. Well, I could play Zin. Ah. No, I can do better than that. This isn't going to score a great deal, but it's a nice word. And it reduces the count back 20 points. Don't think I'm going to find much better. Now, my opponent should be playing Slatia and Jags, or Saltier. If he doesn't, I've got Op at A3 and I've got PE at B11, so I'm not stuck with the P. That's fine. And the final score is 294 to my opponent, 517 to me, which is a winning margin of 223. So a big winning margin. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go first. Great, no missed bingos there. Ah, well, Thumb rather than Fug. Let's just go back and look at that. Thumb leaves DG, Fug leaves DM. D and G are not a good combination, so there probably isn't a great deal between those moves. Here, Dear Dams, Dear Dums. It looks like Dear Dems was a figment of my imagination, and there were a few 8s playable, but certainly Dear Dams for 97 was the highest scoring move. This was a pretty awful rack, but fortunately I was able to score over 30 points. Now, I didn't play U at L7. Because I didn't consider Fiery. That would have been pretty good. 37 points, rack leave of EHSU. Instead, I played Way for not very much. Yeah, that's pretty poor. I could have got 41 points for Ways at L1. Instead, I got a mere 20 points for Way, so that was suboptimal. got on one too many. This was my rack. And quite eerie. Looks like it was best. I could have played Quare in the same spot and retained an E. That's actually maybe better. I don't know. Given that quite eerie takes the S and Way takes an S, and I have an S, making two openings for my S is probably a good thing. Pox at H13. I played this fairly quickly, but it looks like it was best. Nations 01. Yep, that was my play. Buana at K2, didn't think of that. Right, all the way down parallel with Quaeries, that's a nice move. I suspect my actual move was quite feeble. Indeed, 23 points, I could have had 35. Now I had no vowels. Crems for 29, creme for 22, probably not a great deal between them. Dang at M6, that was my play. Turrets at N5, that's a big score. Oh wow, look at that, starting above the O of nations and running across to pluralizing jag. Who'd have thought that such a large score was available from a rack such as this? Now, Turks would have left double L. My play of trot for only 12, well, left E double LS. I think Turks was better. This is where I changed. I could have got Salet and Jags. Yeah, difficult to say that. But here, certainly leanest looks like it was best. Vale at B6. Ah, I see. Making Al and La. Yeah, and that would have taken out the top bingo lane. Whoops, that was my opponent's play. He missed a rack and he missed Varletto with that. This is where I played Hoatzin. I could have played Plots at B7. Okay, coming down parallel with Nief. Hoatzin's a nice word, and I don't think there's very much between that and Plots. And then my opponent bingoed out, so that was the end of the game. So a rip-roaring game, a very comfortable victory, but regardless of your opponent or the winning margin, you are faced with your rack of tiles, and it's your job to do the best you can with that rack. Scrabble is a game with an opponent, but really it's each rack is a puzzle in its own right, which merits your full attention, and each rack has this challenge of you trying to find out the best possible move, and it's rarely easy to spot that move, hence the fascination of the game. So despite the fact that this was a one-sided game, I hope you found it of value, and in addition to it being one-sided, it was also a game which featured quite a few racks with only one vowel, so it was nice to have an opportunity to go through several instances of the thought processes associated with such a rack. So I hope you enjoyed watching that game. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.